You're watching the award-winning GHS TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Hello, and welcome to this special edition of GHS TV's award-winning talk show, Crosstalk. I'm your host, Kaitlyn Poindexter. Our setup today in the theater is fitting because we are focusing on African-American female playwrights in the Memphis area. In addition to talking with these extraordinary women, we will be featuring some of their works performed by our own GHS TV students. My first guest today is Ann Wallace, playback company member and playwright. Thank you for joining me today, Ms. Wallace.
Thank you for having me.
How did you get started in playwriting?
I started actually as a child, just playing around with stories and make-believe and writing things down, and I always had a vivid imagination.
You are a company member at Playback Memphis. Can you explain what this theater group is and how it has influenced your writing?
Sure. Playback Memphis is an improvisational group, and we bring stories to life in a safe space to unlock healing, transformation, and joy. And so on a given performance, audience members will share feelings, impressions, stories, and the actors actually play back what the audience members have shared. And so it has immersed me in storytelling for a live audience member. So most of the time an actor is performing the words of a playwright that may not even be alive anymore. And so we get to tell stories of people who are living, and it has allowed me to just delve into my storytelling and made me want to tell stories even more.
What all have you learned from your experiences at Playback Memphis?
I think one of the first things is it helped me as an actor not be so self-centered. So when you're doing playback, you're in service to someone's story. It's not even really about you. It's about getting the heart of their story so they can have a cathartic experience, so they can experience some kind of transformation. And so you get out of the way.
Well, your work first appeared on stage during the Women's Theater Festival of Memphis back in 2012. What was that moment like, watching your work come to life?
Well, it was exciting. It was kind of surreal. It was just a dream come true to see your words from paper appear on stage. I thought it was magical.
What thoughts went through your head during that moment?
I thought that I was in the right place, that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, that I am a storyteller and a writer.
Have you ever doubted yourself previously?
Well, I think, there's this thing called imposter syndrome that sometimes you can, I don't have the credentials that this person have. I haven't had this kind of success. So you can doubt yourself. So those thoughts creeped into my mind from time to time. But hearing my words on stage and the impact that they had, I knew I was where I was supposed to be.
When you're writing a script, is there a message you try to focus on from the very beginning, or does it just naturally emerge as you continue writing?
Well, there are stories that are always moving around in my head, and some of them are more aggressive than others, and so I think the story that wants to be told is the one that comes out.
What type of audience do you prefer to write for?
Any audience, anyone who wants to hear the message that story is giving. But I will say that I am particularly interested in little black girls because I think that their voices are the ones that are most often not heard.
Did you ever experience not being heard?
I have as a child. Luckily, not to the degree that some children experience, but I have felt invisible at times.
How long does it typically take for you to complete a new work?
Well, that's going to vary on the work. My story, Live Rich, Die Poor, on Zora Neale Hurston took probably 20 years because I didn't know what part of her life and what the story was that I wanted to tell. So I knew I had this fantastic woman that I wanted to write about, but I kept asking myself, what story wants to emerge about her?
Can you talk about the process you go through while writing?
Yes, I can. So I do something that I call interviewing characters. And what I do is I ask the characters in the play a series of questions so that I can get to know them better. And I also do something called peeking in the window. So I imagine that I was peeking in Zora Neale Hurston's window as a child. What would I have seen? And so those things just are a way to enliven my imagination and bring out stories.
Do you use those methods for every play that you write?
I do pretty much. It actually helps me drop into the scene, drop into the characters, and I'm an actress as well, so I do this thing as an actress called dropping in, and I found that it helps me as a playwright as well.
Have you ever encountered an experience where it was difficult for you to put yourself in the character's position?
Yes. I think my play, Live Rich, Die Poor, I struggle with Zora Neale Hurston's, she's an atheist, and I'm not. And so I struggled with how do I tell her story in an authentic way? How do I respect her? So yeah, when I have differences with someone I'm writing about, you know, I have to navigate that and maneuver it in a respectful way.
Are there any plays you have written in the past that still stick with you today?
Some that I've written?
Yes.
Yes. There's a play that I wrote a while ago that I haven't done anything with, that it just won't let me let it die. And so those are some of the more aggressive stories that really want to be told.
In just a moment, we're about to hear an excerpt from your new play, Live Rich, Die Poor, which, as you mentioned, is based off of the life of author Zora Neale Hurston.
Yes.
Can you explain what the play is about and how you were drawn to Hurston?
Yeah, the play is actually, it starts where Zora Neale Hurston's work is out of print, and she's buried in an unmarked grave. And as we know from history, that Alice Walker, renowned writer, respected Zora Neale Hurston and went to put a tombstone. She had to find her tombstone and gave her a proper tombstone. So my play starts with the question, what if Alice Walker, while doing this respectful thing, accidentally awakened Zora Neale Hurston? And in her awakened state, she does not remember all the wonderful and brilliant writing that she does. And so she goes on this journey to revisit her life to discover, did she really live rich? And if so, how?
Well, this was a great conversation. Thank you for joining me today, Ms. Wallace.
Thank you so much for having me.
And now, here is an excerpt from Ann Wallace's Live Rich, Die Poor.
I wasn't always motherless, and in fact, in Edenville, where I grew up, was mostly beautiful, food plentiful, and the people colorful. Spent most of my days under the chinaberry tree. A chinaberry tree is a tall tree in the mahogany family. The chinaberry tree was my transporter. It was the place I learned to dream, where I let the stories run amok in my head. The big tree spread expansively into the blue sky, offering me shade and protection. The stories and the characters, chivalry and treachery, love and betrayal, longing and desire, heartbreak and sadness. I would lay sprawled under its watchful eye and see the story of Iliad and the Odyssey play out in my mind. It was my refuge. It worked on my loneliness, on my peculiarness, on my otherness. I used to say, Chinaberry, Chinaberry, where will my life take me? Chinaberry, Chinaberry tree, what does this world have in store for me? When I wasn't under the Chinaberry tree, I was going to be down at Mr. Joe Clark's store. It was lively, one of the best places in Eatonville to be. Eatonville was the first black incorporated town in this here United States. My father, the Reverend John Hurston, was the mayor and the town preacher when I was growing up. Mr. Joe Clark's store was central to life in Eatonville. The plywood shanty was where the women shopped and where the menfolk congregated out back to chew the fat. The Eatonville Negroes could always be found down there signifying or playing the dozens like.
Your girl so ugly, when you took her out to eat, she had to sneak up on a glass of water to take a drink.
Your girl so fat, she's not on a diet, she's on a try it.
And your girl so skinny, I gave her a piece of popcorn and she went into a coma.
Your mama's so fat, she jumped in the air and got stuck.
From as early as I can remember, I wanted to be at that store listening to those stories. I ran wild, like a little boy wild, all over the place with my friends. I would fight boys and get beat up by the boys. I wasn't scared. Then there was the moon. As a child, I was enamored of the moon. I had decided that it was my secret friend because it followed me around. My friend Sophia, surprisingly, had her own idea about my friend, the moon.
Zora, I don't know why you're silly behind think the moon's studying you when clearly he revolves around Sophia.
I was devastated at the thought. How could the moon do me that way and about somebody who spoke in third person? So low rent. Sophia, you old backstabbing little heifer.
Zora, you old crazy girl, you are beyond help. You thinking the moon was all yours? Huh. See, look, I'ma run over there. The moon just followed me over here. See, Zora, crazy Hurston, ain't nobody backstabbing you except maybe the moon.
Well, that was how my friendship ended with the moon and with Sophia. My spunk is legendary. Where did I get it? From my mama's love in Eatonville, of course. I never had to struggle with who I was there. Then there was my daddy's neglect, I suppose.
Didn't nobody neglect that gal? She just thinks she's better than everybody. I works hard to move her mama and all these kids from Naljastocha, Alabama to this here town, Eatonville, where I'm the big man. Got lots of food, got freedom. Ain't no white man's coming through Eatonville bothering our women and children. I works hard and comes home with gifts, and this here girl says she wants a pony. A pony. She too high-minded, and I ain't fixing to pay you up, Zora Lee. This world ain't gonna pet you up. You wasn't neglected.
He talked down to me, thought I was weird. He used to say,
you one strange, crazy gal. You gonna get yourself killed smiling in the face of all those white folks who pass through this town, fighting boys and wanting ponies. You make me sick.
When he gets hit and killed by a train in Memphis in 1918, I do not attend the funeral.
Get your lesson, gal. That's your ticket, your lesson. This butt whipping I'ma give you is to save your wretched life. It ain't to neglect you.
And then she would save me. She would have been in that kitchen peeling sweet potatoes, soaking the greens, chopping the fat back, and boiling eggs. We ate so many boiled eggs, but she would stop and save me.
Let her alone, John. She ain't strange. God made her different. And God don't make no mistakes. And my baby ain't no mistake. Baby, look at me. Look at me. You promised me, honey, you would jump at the sun. When I'm gone, promise me you'll say it, baby.
Jump at the sun. See, I get it from my mama and daddy. From that day, I would spend almost every waking moment jumping at the sun. But there was this foreboding had been speaking things to me. 12 premonitions since I was a child, and it wasn't long before all those things were true.
Baby, get the liniment. Rub mama's shoulders. Yes, Thank you, baby. Zora, sweetie, I'm sick. Listen to me now. Will you do something for your mama, honey? Good. Zora, when the time comes, baby, don't cry. Keep rubbing, honey. And when I take my last breath, don't let them cover the mirror or the clock or turn my feet facing no east. And keep my pillow under my head. I don't believe in that stuff, and I don't want it. You hear me, sweetie?
The day she died was a scary day. Earth-shattering, life-changing, mind-altering. All the things you can think of to name the day your virtually idyllic life changes forever. I was having the most extraordinary dream. I was standing in a field all alive in colors. Purple flowers grew all over the field. Yellow birds flew everywhere. Dandelions blew, and the most perfect wind inside the most perfect temperature dashed about me. I woke up delighted and refreshed, stretched myself out, yawned, and opened my eyes. My sister, standing in the dark of the room perfectly still, looking at me, trying to speak, her mouth shaped as if to say, "Mama," but it was stuck. I said it for her. "Mama? Mama?" Then I jumped out of the bed. "Mama?" Ran down the stairs to my mama's room, got to her room. "Mama?" Her room was the color of butterscotch. The prettiest butterscotch hand-crocheted blanket lay on her bed. There I stood in her room with all that butterscotch, out of breath, confused, lightheaded, the room spinning, people surrounding her, fighting my way through. "Mama." She touched my hair lightly, my cheek, my chin. She was gone. "No, Mama, no, 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 Mama, no. And no more Mama." Agony around every corner and in every corner. Pain in every nook and cranny of my mind of that house. Not a soul could console me. The world was ending. I couldn't breathe. No one to help me. Some tried, but they couldn't save that part of me that was unsavable. And as for my one job, Mama had just closed her eyes when there went Sister Matthews covering the clock. Out of my fit, I screamed, "Don't cover that clock. Don't cover that mirror. She don't want it covered. Put her pillow back under her head." I was subdued by now. "Don't touch her feet. Don't touch me. She didn't want none of this. Daddy, she told me. Let me go." I was removed lovingly and forcibly. I had failed her. All I heard was her voice.
Would you do that for your mama, honey?
For years, I would rock myself to sleep to her command to me.
Jump at the sun, baby. Jump at the sun.
She had never failed me, and yet I couldn't do that one job, her last request to me. The only thing I could give her was to jump at the sun.
Again, that was an excerpt from Ann Wallace's Live Rich, Die Poor. As an alumna of Germantown High School, Erin Cole set out to follow her dreams of becoming a writer and an actress. She strives to create works on stage that allow people to see themselves in another perspective. She is now artistic director at Art with a Heartbeat, as well as a consultant, producing works of art for various events across Memphis. Thank you, Ms. Cole, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Kaitlyn. I'm glad to be here.
You were heavily involved in theater and TV while you were a student here.
Heavily.
How did that impact you or set a foundation for you as a writer?
I feel that being a part of GHS production and TV really impacted almost every aspect of my life after that point. You can be talented in something. You can be a great singer or a dancer or a performer, but really not have the work ethic or the consistency or follow through to really pursue a thing. And I think I learned all of that here at GHS.
After college, you became the artistic director at Art with a Heartbeat. Can you explain what this program is?
Yes, I started a company on my own from the ground up to really come alongside events and productions that were looking to really more on a corporate organizational side, looking to bring creative lift to whatever they were doing. So whether it's an organization that's talking about mass incarceration or social injustice, then I would create vignettes or pieces that speak directly to those pieces and help bring the audience in before the main speaker got up to speak about that content. And so I've been doing that for about almost 10 years, and just kind of curating specific events or specific vignettes for those events, and I wrote my first full-length stage play last year.
What's up, Memphis? My name is Erin Cole, and I'm the creator of a new event coming to our city, Engage Memphis. This event seeks to celebrate our local artists, and this year, our inaugural year, we're empowering, celebrating, and engaging minority women in art.
What challenges did you face creating your company?
It's a niche. I mean, I don't know anybody else that's doing that specifically. It's something that I made up, and I have to basically find the people that need the service that I provide, and so that's always a challenge. But once people understand what it is and understand that they need help communicating something, because I majored in communications and also theater, and so it's kind of the merger of those two things. And so once people see the benefit of theater for their real life, then they're like, oh, I absolutely need that service. And so it's been a challenge helping people to understand it, but once they understand it, they love it.
How do you incorporate what you learned into your writing?
I think one of the best things that I learned acting here at Germantown was that every action should have a motivation. Everything that you do has a reason. And so you don't just write or you don't just get on stage and act. You need to actually be doing. And there's this quote that says, it's not about the words, it's about the life that makes the words necessary.
One God and one Father of all. Just one Father of all? Brothers and sisters in Christ. So if we're really brothers and sisters in Christ, why is it so difficult to be together in Jesus?
So when I write, when I create, I'm really thinking about characters, who they are, what drives them, what's the worst thing that could happen to this character, what's the best thing that could happen to this character, and that allows the words to just flow versus me just writing some stuff down and hoping that people enjoy it.
Well, you're not only a writer, but an actress as well.
Yes.
How do you use both aspects in your writing?
Well, I think it's the same thing. You know, I don't, as an actor, you don't want to get up and just be mechanic. You know, Sanford Meisner said that acting is the ability to live truthfully under imaginary circumstances. And so everything that's happening on stage or on camera is real. It's just the circumstances may not be real.
I think I'm dying. Don't you dare tell a soul that. They'll think you're lying. But my insides are corrupt. Infections running amok, my feet, my back, my arms, everything's at odds. It all started with my feet, red like cinnamon, native sons and daughters. I stood on them for centuries until Columbus, well, he ripped me from their hands. And maybe I got greedy, but he showed me something I couldn't see. So I had to devise a plan. I put them on reservations.
What motivates you to continue writing?
As long as the world keeps turning, as the world turns, and people are hurt, people need love, people need a new perspective on life, I think there's a reason for me to write and create, because if you look at some of the major things that have happened in our society, artists have a voice in those things. Artists have a voice in changing those things, changing the trajectory of how culture shifts. And so I think being an artist is so important to the way culture goes, to people being able to become better people. And so that inspires me to continue to write and create.
What are your favorite things about being a playwright?
I love live theater. I think there's nothing like it. It can be extremely stressful, but I'm encouraged to creating things that people can feel, you know, right away as they're looking at it. It's nothing like having those moments on stage where you've connected with an audience, and I love that every audience is different. You know, when you walk out on stage and you can kind of feel the energy, you know, you have one audience that laughs at one thing, and then the next night you're like, they didn't laugh at that at all. So you're like, I don't know. I don't know if it's funny or not, but I love the live component of theater.
Is there a specific type of audience you prefer to write towards?
Humans. I don't have a specific audience, really. I mean, because I think everyone needs the opportunity to transform, and that's what art is to me. It's the opportunity, like you introduced me, to see yourself in a light. Art puts a mirror up to you and allows you to see, like, oh, do I really sound or act like that? And so, yeah.
After living in cities such as Orlando and Atlanta, you decided to move back to Memphis. What inspired you to come back?
Well, initially, my husband, I got married, and I wasn't even thinking about Memphis, to be completely honest, but after I've been here for 3 years, I really think something special is happening in our city. I think there's an artist renaissance that's gonna take place, and I wanna be a part of it to take advantage of it. I'm not opposed to moving to another city. I'm not saying I'll be in Memphis for the rest of my life, but I am excited that I am here now. And yeah, I think I would hate to see people leave this city because they feel like they can't do what they love here. And so I want to be a part of continuing to create space and infrastructure for artists to be a part of, so they can say, wow, I write, or I dance, or I create. I can thrive and I can exist here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Well, speaking of theater in Memphis, we're about to take a look at a scene from your first full-length show, Ricochet, which was recently performed at Mount Moriah East Baptist Church. What can you tell us about the play?
Ricochet is full of twists and turns. It doesn't end the way you think it will.
Everyone thinks that I can't be serious. I mean, who am I kidding? I can't.
But back in 2016, there was a week in our history where 2 black men were killed back to back, and then in Dallas there was a march by police officers, but then there was a march to protest those things, and then there were police shootings. And so I just was like, man, the country is at arms right now, and I just wanted to humanize both sides. And so that's kind of the inspiration for Ricochet.
Well, I'm very excited to get a taste of Ricochet. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Now it's time to take a look at a scene from Ricochet.
Mitzi Henderson, late 60s, Daryl's, Dwayne, and Snoopy's mother.
Nikki Henderson, early mid-40s, Daryl's wife, Brian's mother.
Sarah Tipton, early 20s, Brian's girlfriend. Nikki prepares a table for 7. It's her son Brian's police academy graduation dinner. Her mother-in-law, Mitzi, walks in while she is rushing to bring items out to set the table.
I thought you would have had all this ready by now. We're gonna need some help.
Yeah, that's why I asked Sarah to come over a little early.
Sarah?
Yes, your grandson's girlfriend?
Oh, her.
What do you have against her? You don't even know her.
Precisely. I could just feel eyes lurking from my wig all the way down to these old feet during the graduation. She was watching all of us. I don't know her judgments or her intentions. I don't know her.
She was probably watching because she wants us to like her.
Like her? I'm not the one dating her. I don't need to like her.
Come on, Mitzi. You remember when I first started dating Daryl. I was terrified to meet you and Mr. Henderson, but you welcomed me with open arms, like I was already your daughter.
You were different. Times were different.
Imagine how you'd feel dating a guy you really like and being around his family for the first time. Aside from that, we are us. She's probably never been around that many black folks at one time. It's a lot to take in.
Even the more reason not to trust her. We raised Brian with dignity and respect.
Who's to say she wasn't raised the same way?
Respectful people don't go gawking up and down, especially with the history of black and white folk in this country. I was born in 1948. I don't tolerate no white woman, wide mouth, looking at me. Silence magnifies sound, and I could hear her questioning everything about me. Who does she think she is?
That's her. Behave yourself.
Hi, Mrs. Henderson.
Girl, call me Nikki.
Okay, Nikki. You have a lovely home. Brian told me how much y'all like mac and cheese, so I whipped up a batch.
Mitzi looks terrified and takes the pan and puts it away.
Thank you, Mitzi.
That'll be Mrs. Henderson.
Of course. I'm sorry, Mrs. Henderson. You two must be so proud of Brian. I knew he was finishing up at the police academy, but he didn't tell me he was at the top of his class.
That's our boy.
He looked so good up there singing the national anthem. A complete man burger.
A man what?
Sarah! We're setting the table ready, getting everything ready for dinner. Would you like a drink?
Sure. What do you have?
I have Coke, sweet tea, red wine, water.
Oh, a cab would be nice.
Child, you say you want to call a cab?
Mitzi, cab is a wine.
Water is fine.
Coming right up.
Thank you, Nikki. Nikki, I love your head wrap. You think you could teach me how to wrap my hair up like that?
Absolutely not.
After dinner.
Sarah walks around observing the art in the house. Okay, great. Nikki, Brian told me you were an artist, but you're really good.
Why wouldn't she be?
Thank you, Sarah.
The name of your boutique is...
Joyful Boutique.
That's right, Joyful Boutique.
Yeah, my mom's name was Joy. Growing up, she made everything from deodorants to body butters. She died a few years ago, and I opened up the store, kinda in her honor. I couldn't think of a better name. Here, I want you to try this.
Child, she will be through the moon to see what you've turned a legacy into.
This is nice. No wonder Brian always smells so good. What's in this?
It has shea butter, coconut oil.
Don't go giving away the recipe.
Well, I wouldn't dare give it away.
Right, because you'll never have it.
There's a silence as Mitzi's discomfort is felt. Sarah, tell us about yourself.
What do you want to know? I'm an open book.
Well, anything that stays open all the time is stale, if you ask me.
Mitzi!
It's okay. I just mean that I'd love to share. Where should I start? I'm from the Buckeye State.
Ohio, okay.
That's right. Born and raised. I came to Memphis for school, and I guess I'm sticking around.
What made you come all the way to Memphis?
I needed a change.
Only child?
Yeah.
Takes one to know one.
I guess so. To be honest, that's what led me here for school. I had to get away.
You can leave your people, but you can't leave your problem.
Maybe so. But this place has given me so much hope and joy, and Brian. Brian has been such a good boyfriend to me. I've never met anyone like him.
Hey, what are your plans with my grandson? We don't believe in all that hanky unless there's a ring on the panky. You been doing what the kids say, pumping the boot?
Mitzi! Sarah, you don't have to answer that question if it makes you uncomfortable.
Why not? It's a wonderful question. Sarah, are you comfortable answering this question?
Well, I can say that Brian is the ultimate gentleman. And we haven't said it to each other, but I'm pretty sure I love him.
Love? Lord have mercy!
No, I know. I can't believe I said it out loud. It took me some time to admit it to myself, because love overwhelms me, like swimming with no shore in sight. Once I'm out there, a water or a sea monster could get me, and at that point I'm done for. It's not safe, but that's okay, because he is. He'll make a great dad.
You're pregnant?
No. I just dream about us in the future. Us with our little man-burger twin boys and our responsible and tender-hearted little girl. Brian will work his way up to lieutenant. I can help Nikki in the shop.
So you're saying that you are pumping the boot?
No, I'm saying that I know how much you all love Brian. I can see it by the way he loves others, by the way he loves me. You can't give what you don't have. And because of that love you've given him, you must have a lot of doubts about me. Because you don't want him just giving that love away to anyone. But I'm here for as long as he wants me to be. Because I do love him.
Well, girl, get over here and help us set this table then.
That was a scene from Erin Cole's Ricochet. I'm very excited to introduce our final playwright. Founder of Evans Productions, Sharrika Evans strives to create the roles that she wants to see. In 2016, her play The Power of Love went on tour. Thank you for joining me today, Ms. Evans.
Thank you for having me.
What I found interesting while doing my research was that you originally were going to pursue an entirely different career. You were going to become a nurse, if I'm correct.
Yes.
What made you say, I want to become a playwright?
So my freshman year of college, fresh out of high school, I graduated top of my class, and my entire family, they just knew that I was going to go to school to be a nurse. And I love math and science, loved it, wasn't hard for me at all. However, my passion was always in writing and directing and acting. But that's not something that your parents like to hear. You know, they see a future in nursing, not in directing and acting and writing. And so while pursuing that career, actually my freshman year, I had to write an English paper, and I received an A on that paper. And my teacher, she actually came to me and she said, Sharrika, you are going to make a wonderful nurse. And I told her, I was like, I was just writing a story. That person, that character wasn't me. I was doing what I love, and that was actually writing. And then after that, I built the courage to tell my parents that I was no longer pursuing nursing and that I wanted to pursue what I'm currently doing now.
How difficult was facing the fact that your family didn't consider playwriting an actual job?
It was tough. It was actually very tough, because your parents, you know, you want them to be your biggest fan. You want them to be your biggest supporter. So to go to them and to tell them this is what you want to pursue in life, and they shut you down completely, it was tough. You know, I had to find that the strength within myself to keep going, and knew that it was something that was put inside of me, and I couldn't stop until I actually completed that mission.
Eventually, you started your own theater company called Evans Productions in 2014. Can you talk about this process and how it shaped you as a person?
Yes, that was very difficult to say the least. I was only 21 years old when I started my production company. I saved money that I received from a car accident, so I did not have to ask my parents for anything. So I saved that money up, and I started in church. So that's where it kind of all began for me. The church programs, the first one that we had was a Black History play. And so I did it. The church members loved it, and they literally would not let me leave that building until I told them that I would continue to write stage plays. So starting that production company was very tough for me. However, it shaped me into the woman that I am today. All the trials and errors has led me to where I am now.
What are some of the challenges you faced while building your company?
I would say the most difficult challenge for me was being so young and no one respected me. I would walk into venues and try to rent the venues out for the theaters, and they would pretty much look at me and laugh. And they would ask me, you know, where's your business manager, your director, you know, who's the person in charge? And I would have to sit there and say, that would be me. I'm the person in charge. So demanding that respect starting out was definitely the most challenging part for me.
The next year, you held a casting call for your show, The Power of Love. How did that go?
The casting call was very interesting. I had people to come out from Mississippi as well as Memphis, Tennessee. I had not been introduced to the audience in Memphis. So as far as recruiting the actors, it was a little challenging because I didn't know their backgrounds. But during that casting call, I was able to kind of pull out the actors that I knew that was really passionate about this particular craft and not just wanted to be there for show. And so once I got through that that piece of it, it became fairly easy after that.
How did you take what you learned and incorporate it into your writing?
I think I do that all the time, actually. Whenever I'm writing something, I have a underlining message to all of my pieces. I sometimes very much take what I've been through my life experience, and always, if any point of the piece, I try to include that into it, because actually it has helped me tremendously, and I know that if it helped me, then sure enough, it'll be able to help someone else.
Eventually, you plan to make a transition from theater to film. Why did you make this decision?
Theater is stressful. It's so stressful. I love theater. I honestly, I do. And actually, I have a good friend, Erin, that is in this segment. You know, she told me, she said, Sharrika, wherever you go, the issues are going to follow you. You know, whether you stay in theater or you transition to film, the issues are going to follow you. I will say in film, I'm able to be more flexible. I think theater, you know, you're only is in a certain area on that stage. You know, you can't go outside of that. And so with film, I'm a little more creative. I can move around a little more. I've already completed one series of a documentary that I actually directed, so I'm super excited about that. So the transition, it hasn't been easy, but throughout the entire process, I've been praying, making sure that this was the right decision from transitioning from theater to film.
How were you able to make that transition from writer to director?
It was difficult. Actually, the first day on set, my crew members, the DP, they pulled me. You know, they pulled me to the side and they said that they gave me some constructive criticism that first day. It was tough. You know, from experience with directing, it's definitely different from theater to film. They gave me some constructive criticism. I went home, I studied, I prepared. I went and watched other documentaries to help me on set. But the first couple of weeks was very challenging, but having those team members that encourage you and help you along the way was very helpful.
Well, you have a new play called Fear of the Unknown. What is it about?
So I was asked, actually once you guys asked me to do this segment with you guys, I was very excited, and I was originally going to send in a monologue that I already have, and I was like, well, I know high school students will actually be viewing this piece, so I wanted to write something that will encourage them, and kind of my situation when I was graduating out of high school, like you said, my parents wanted me to pursue a certain career, and that's something that I didn't want to do, and the fear of doing something my entire life that wasn't going to excite me actually moved me to write this piece.
This was a great conversation. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Now, here is a scene from Sharrika Evans's Fear of the Unknown.
Two beautiful high school girls sit at their desk having small talk as the bell rings.
18 more days, baby. It's a must that we finish picking everything out for the dorm. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
You don't sound like it. We got accepted into our dream college. Our parents are beyond proud of us. I mean...
Yeah, you're right. I'm just tripping. I guess I'm starting to get a little nervous, you know? The moment we walk across that stage, everything after that sets the tone for the rest of our lives.
I feel you. But Chris, we're graduating top of our class, and we've already taken prep college courses. The nursing program will be a piece of cake. Don't worry.
How do you know?
How do I know what?
That nursing is for us. What makes you so confident that we chose the right career path?
Casey puts down her mirror and turns toward Crystal.
Well, for one, words like benefits and job security. Those words by themselves should be enough. If it's not, take our parents, for example. They're middle-class working citizens, and yet we see them struggling every day. Do you want that?
No.
Okay, then. That's how you know we've made the right decision. I'll call you when I leave work tonight.
Casey and Crystal gather their things.
Hey, don't overthink this, okay? Try to have fun in rehearsal.
Crystal starts to walk away but stops.
Casey.
What?
In your living room, there's a picture of your mom dancing in high school.
Oh, from the stories my dad tells me, she was really good. Had opportunities to dance all over the world, but she chose to go to school to be a therapist.
Can you do a favor for me?
Sure.
Ask her if she ever regrets her decision.
Crystal throws her bag over her shoulder and walks away. Casey stares at her before dropping her head and walks away.
Crystal walks into a room where girls are stretching out on the floor.
All right, ladies, 5 more minutes on the stretching. What's up, Crystal?
Hey.
Ready to kill this piece?
You know it, I can just about do it with my eyes closed now.
Cool. Be sure I see that 8 count before you leave.
Gotcha.
Crystal walks over and greets her friend Mel.
How you feeling?
Pretty good, pretty good. There is always the butterflies, though.
That's when you know you finna kill it. It's gonna be great. Besides, you're a natural.
So are you.
Nah, Chris. The way you own that stage is breathtaking. You inspire me every day to work harder.
Crystal looks away and unpacks her bag.
Yeah, well, too bad I won't be inspiring others, hanging up my dancing shoes after graduation.
What? Why are you not going to pursue dance in college?
3 words, benefits and job security. Oh, and in the words of my mother, Crystal, you should really be pursuing a real job. Crystal, what does this mean for your future, darling? Crystal, dance would never set you up financially. Crystal, you shouldn't do this. Crystal, 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 I'm sick of it.
Crystal, calm down. It's okay.
No, it's not okay. I'm about to give 4 years of my life to something I could care less about. Nothing about being a nurse excites me. If I could turn off this passion inside of me, I would. But I eat, live, and breathe dancing. Why can't anyone understand that? I feel so alive when I'm on stage, and I honestly don't see myself doing anything else. I'm confused and scared.
This is our life, guys. At the end of the day, we have to be the ones to live it. Not our parents, not our friends, but us. Should we listen to their advice? Yes. Should we allow them to determine the rest of our lives? No. There's no rule that says we should have our entire life figured out at 18. Do you know how much pressure that is? Hello, anxiety attack.
Everyone laughs and wipes their tears.
Look, I don't care what we do past this moment, but everyone has to promise to never let fear stop you from chasing your dreams. Promise?
I promise.
Promise?
I promise.
Okay, ladies, let's get in formation.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from our playwrights and viewing scenes from their original works. For more information on our programming, please check us out on the web at ghstv.org, where we are streaming live 24 hours a day. You can also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Kaitlyn Poindexter. From all of us here at GHS TV, thank you for watching Crosstalk, and I hope to see you again.